Hey everybody, welcome to Fit Tip Tuesday. Today I was going to talk about how to do a full bust adjustment and also narrow the upper chest for a subscriber, but guess what? I've already done those. So I'm putting links to how to do that in one video, and that's going to show you how to do a full bust adjustment with a bust start and then narrow your upper chest. And then I'm going to also link a second video that shows how to do a full bust adjustment when you don't have a bust dart. So if you're working with a knit top. So today what I want to talk about instead is how to do a full bust adjustment when you're working with either a wrap top or a top that is, let's say, a cardigan with an open front and an asymmetrical hem. And I'm just going to stand up and show you here. This is my Cross-Over Cardi, and you can see it can be worn crossed over like this if you button it at the side seams at the hem. It can be worn open, and it can also be worn tied for a casual sort of closure. Now the trick to this top, and I think sometimes the you may think, well, I don't need to do a full bust adjustment on something like this because it doesn't close at center front. There is a gap between, the right and left side. But I was working on a Cross-Over Cardi for my daughter, and she really needed a full bust adjustment so the front edges would cover enough of her bust for it to look proportionally attractive. So she could wear it and it hung more, let's say like this, off to the side, and she really couldn't pull it closed enough to either tie it or button it at the hem. So I'm going to show you a way that you can add room in your bust for a pattern like this. And if you're interested in my Cross-Over Cardi pattern, you can check that out right here in my YouTube store. It comes with a long sleeve, but I also made a really pretty cap sleeve, which I think is a cool option for the summer if you just need something to throw on, cover your shoulders, and maybe chase the chill away in the air conditioning. I have a video that shows how to make a cap sleeve, and I'm going to also put that in the description below. Traditionally, I've been using sheer knits or stretch lace to make these Cross-Over Cardis, like this one. Okay, this is actually a sheer lace knit. So this is an example of a sheer knit with the regular long sleeve. And I have it crisscrossed on that one. This is a rayon challis, so things that are woven and soft and drapey also work, although you're going to need to measure and maybe go up one size to account for the fact that the rayon challis really only has mechanical give, not stretch. So that's this pattern. Now let's get to the full bust adjustment. Okay, I created a mini pattern piece that's shaped like the front of my Cross-Over Cardi. Okay, so you can see here I made a mini front pattern piece for this Cross-Over Cardi, but you can also see that this adjustment will work for any wrap bodice, and it can even stop here. So let's say you're just working with the bodice and then you have an empire waist and it just wraps up at the top. This adjustment will work for that as well. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is just draw in my notch for the front armhole, which I forgot to put in here. So we have a front armhole notch here, let's say. Okay. And the whole idea is we want to create room in here for your bust. So I'm just going to draw a circle where the approximate, bust shape is. To position this adjustment properly, you're going to measure from your shoulder down to your apex. So if I just take my tape measure, find my shoulder seam, measure down to my apex. Okay, so for me that's 12 inches. So let's pretend I'm going to measure down from the center of my shoulder down to that level. So let's say it's right there. So there is my apex at the bottom of that orange line. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a horizontal line from the vertical line like this. And I'm also going to draw a diagonal line from my front armhole notch to the base of that as well. So you can see by measuring your distance from your shoulder to your apex and then finding that position on the pattern, you're going to be putting the extra ease where you need it. And we don't have to worry about moving a dart in this case because there is not a dart to deal with. So I want to make sure as I'm spreading, I'm putting it where my apex is. So the next step is I am going to slash through the horizontal line and up to the diagonal line like this. And then I'm going to create a hinge at the armhole. So if you had made a mock-up of the wrap top that you're trying to add room for, you want to just measure how much farther over you would like the, each side to reach across. Let's say we wanted to add an inch. Okay, so I'm going to open it a quarter for this example because I'm working on this really small half scale pattern. So I'm going to put a piece of my wonderful post-it note there, and I'm going to open it that 1/4 inch like this. Okay, and you can see what's happening is I am creating room right here. So all of this right here, that's adding that inch of ease that will push the center front over. Okay, so now you can see we also added some vertical length. And vertical length is always important when you're fitting a large bust because not only does the fabric have to reach across your bust, but it also probably needs a little extra fabric to go over your bust. So most full bust adjustments have that cross grain ease and vertical grain ease added into it. So you can see now what I have is a little bit of a truing up issue. So again, I'm just going to take a second post-it note and stick it under here like this. And basically what I'm going to do is I am going to true this up by extending the center front edge like this. Okay, so now what I've done is I've created extra room all the way down the front to allow it to wrap, through the bust area. If you don't need that much, if you don't need to add some down at the base, you can certainly taper it. So let's say, I really just need it up here. You can make a gentle taper in this pink dash line to get back up to here. So whether you draw a straight line from above the adjustment down to the original hem edge, or if you taper it a little bit to keep it shaped, either way, you're adding all of this extra ease in here through the bust area and all of this vertical, and then also we're coming back to horizontal. All of this ease, you can see, is centered near the apex or where your bust mound is. So this is actually a really easy adjustment. I didn't want to overcomplicate it, so it's just very simple. If you have any questions or comments about doing a full bust adjustment on a wrap top, please post those below and I will help you. I will see you Friday for another episode of FabFit Friday. If you missed last week's FabFit Friday, I showed an updated version of my Happy Hiking belt. So if anybody is looking for hands-free, a hands-free way to carry your phone and your credit card, maybe your wallet, the Happy Hiking belt is amazing. So definitely check that out if you missed it from last week. And please join me this Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for another episode of FabFit Friday, where I will be launching into a new project. So it's going to be very exciting. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you again very soon.